Today I have Emily Fish with me. She is one of our MFA students. She's doing an MFA in digital design at the University of Arts and Design. Welcome, Emily.
Hi, thank you.
I'm so excited for you guys to hear from Emily because I think the MFA is a really interesting degree because we're combining art, design, and business, but you are doing quite a bit of artwork still, but you're also doing things that you might not see in a regular MFA. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the projects you've had that has been really interesting?
I think a lot of my projects have been really interesting. Actually, I don't think there's anything that hasn't been interesting. I grew up very creative and very artistic, and having the ability to always experiment and try different arts and crafts and different things, and having an artist for a mother and whatnot. And so I always got to experience things, but since high school, I didn't really take a whole lot of actual art classes. I took a few art classes in college, but not in my undergrad, but not as much. I mean, I got a marketing degree, so I got the business aspect there. But I've always kind of been self-taught in everything that I've done. That being said, because I gravitated more towards three-dimensional things as a kid, where I was crocheting or I was assembling things more three-dimensionally than flat and just drawing, I tended to go more in that direction. So it has been really interesting to me to be able to go back to exploring with watercolors and acrylic paint and painting a little bit more, and as well as taking the concepts that I learned in those painting classes and then putting them into a digital form, and not necessarily taking something that I painted and making it digital, but experimenting with creating a digital technique that looks like I might have painted it with physical paints. That has kind of been fun to kind of explore a little bit. Most recently in art theory and criticism, kind of exploring the different isms of styles of art, and realizing that I actually really liked Fauvism. And I really had a lot of fun creating some Fauvistic, I don't know, some paintings in the Fauvist style digitally.
And I want to put this up so you guys are going to see. I'm going to put up for you guys the front cover of Artboard magazine 3. Emily was involved. She was the layout director for that, and we ended up using your piece from 512 on the front cover of the magazine.
And that was really kind of exciting because I didn't even necessarily, I knew you were looking for something very colorful, and I had that one and my pointillism piece, and I think a couple of people, since we had already had that class together, had seen some of the other pieces, and they're like, oh, but that's really colorful. And so I just was like, yeah, sure, whatever, if it works. And wasn't really expecting that, so I was really kind of excited when everybody, I felt like I shouldn't vote, but when everybody said, no, that's the one we want, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
really
it turned out really cool. I also liked, we don't always do this, but we wrapped it to the back of the magazine as well. Sometimes there's another art piece. And by the way, you guys can read that Artboard magazine for free on the university website at uad.education. So just click on Artboard magazine and you can just see that entire issue for free, which is really fun.
And all my layout skills that I learned.
Yes, yeah, Emily.
Perfected, maybe?
Emily,
I don't know.
the 608 classes are a publication class, but it's for MFA, so it means it's a leadership class, it's a creative direction class. I put you guys through the ringer. It was a tough class.
It was.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that, the things you learned?
I had some experience in InDesign. I had used it for a few things. I was using it at one point to make all of my listing images quickly and easily, but I wasn't really using it for publication purposes. So that was where it was different for me to use it in the format of a publication. And not having done anything publication layout probably since college, when I worked for a printing company in college. It was, and that would have been, we'll go with 20 plus years ago. So that was done, a lot differently then. And there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of trial and error, understanding what was expected of me and what was allowed as well. I said, initially I was trying to work with, I guess, more limited resources, not realizing that I could expand outward and I could get other materials to include in articles. I was trying to work with what I was given to start with. Thankfully, I did not have to do any of the editing. Otherwise, it would be full of spelling errors.
Yeah. So
that's not my specialty.
This was an interesting class because we had 2 editor and co-chiefs. I don't think I said that right. 2 editors and chiefs, and they were
co-editors in chief.
That's right. So we had 2. Then we had a creative director. Then we had you, layout director, and then we had a media director. And all of you were working on different aspects of the magazine. But truthfully, the layout director probably had the bulk of like what I call the skill work to make sure everything would work. You guys did a great job also of getting the other students in the student body to contribute articles. I think it's the most articles we've ever had in a magazine.
It really is. There's a lot more articles than we had before in previous issues. In fact, since I've been part of all 3 issues now, this was definitely the most article heavy, and it's nice because it's a wide variety of types of articles. Some are kind of short and brief and to the point and image heavy, and there are some that have a lot more examples or instructions and whatnot in them. So I think it came together really nicely. It brought a lot of different elements together, and it was a lot of fun to work on. It was fun to not only have the images that were provided for me, but then also to then go ahead and create some other mock-up images to edit and improve the images to be used in different ways, to pull from one person's artwork and add it to another person's, and combine things here and there and highlight the colors and different things like that. And I probably learned more in this class than I've learned so much in every single class, but this particular class, I would say my InDesign skills are
amazing,
pretty up there at this point.
Yeah, it is amazing when you tackle such a big project, especially a university-wide project, and you're working with the student body and you're working with other directors, but you having to kind of bring everything together. It was a pretty unique project, and it was, this is the first time I've run this class, and I'm also learning, and just even the way we laid it out, I was just like, oh man, this is like a lot of work for who ends up being the layout director.
And I'm a hands-on learner, so in advance, even though I would kind of watch some videos to get some ideas of ways I could lay things out, it didn't mean anything to me until I actually had everything that I was putting together. Like when my grandmother taught me to crochet when I was 5. I taught myself to knit when I was pregnant with my first child. And I didn't just start knitting like sample things to learn the stitch. I knit a whole sweater to start with because that's how I am. I really need to jump into a project and learn as I do things.
Do you worry about mistakes at all, or is it you just doesn't bother you?
I just kind of learn from them and try to keep going. And the biggest mistake I learned from that sweater was there was no way that thing was going to fit me after having a baby.
I love that. That's so good. So 608 was great. There's another set of things that we do on our MFA that's really unique, and that is you guys have some what we call Capstone digital strategies classes, where you are doing some incredible things. You're building a business right along with the MAs, right? And then secondary, you do a huge cumulating studio project. So we've tried to mix, in essence, you really have 2 huge sets of capstones, which is really different for an MFA. Usually it's just like one last shebang, but we really have you explore both the business side and the art side because of that. I think I would love for you to talk about the madness that you took on your first semester of Capstone, which was like the digital strategies class.
Okay.
Because we emphasize volume of product, and when you're in that class, there's 10 weeks and you are building around 100 products. But you didn't do that, Emily.
No.
Tell them what you decided to do.
I am a Cricut contributing artist, and I have been for a little while, and Cricut offered the artists the opportunity to earn a free machine. And because Cricut was rolling out their the traditional work that I did for Cricut was images, just images the way they were. If it had text in it, it had to be had to be compound paths so that nothing could change, so it would all go together, everything lined up easily, and very as user friendly as possible. Designs are things where we're incorporating Cricut's text, the ability to change the text, the ability to change the wording, move the pieces around more, not have them as static, so that if somebody wants to delete a part or move things around, they can. And so the challenge was, if this would have been last year, by June 30th, we submitted and had accepted 250 designs, we would earn the free machine. And
that's not even halfway through the semester, because it was summer semester started like May 18th or something. So
yes.
It's been like 6 weeks.
Yes.
And you were trying to accomplish like 2.5 times what we were expecting for the entire semester.
Yeah, I think from the time that I kind of pitched it as my project, left me with about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I needed to have actually more than 250, because there needed to be time, and I needed to be done by I think the 20th of June, so there was time for them to get approved. And I needed to have more than 250, so that if something didn't get approved, I had extras to fall back on to make sure I hit that 250 mark by the end of the month. So that kind of left me with basically 4 weeks to create 250 designs. I was able to pull from some of my older artwork.
Smart.
I was able to take images that I'd already used for Cricut, as well as other places, and combine them and create, and then add text so that it created a new design. And so I was able to do that initially, but I got to the point where I needed to be drawing new things so that I could be putting, so that they were unique enough so that they were usable. And I think the best thing that I did, and what I really learned to do well with that, was to pick a theme and stick with that theme. If my theme was, like one I did was Italian summer. So, I picked some kind of lemon and olive things and a scooter, and I kind of created a list of things that I could quickly illustrate, draw out. Not overly complex, so minimal layers, maybe no more than 3 layers of things, adding my pieces together and whatnot, drawing it out. And then, how did I then utilize that? And then if I created this collection of images, and then I would come up with a bunch of phrases that kind of went with that. And my goal was always to have at least 10 designs that worked with that theme. And sometimes I would end up with 15 or 20, and because something would give me an idea, and I'd go, oh, I can do this, and I can pull from this, and then I might be going back and saying, oh, I did this before, so I can pull from over there and add things around and move things around. And so
so it was intense, but even more, I was like, well, you still have to do stuff for the rest of the semester. So then you added on to that. Did you feel like it was a successful semester?
I do. I really did. And so what the adding on to it was, then I had to then take all those images, which the way I had to do them in Cricut was not necessarily the way I would do them in other
platforms. So then you had to spend
modify
some time
them for my Silhouette store. I had to alter that, and to modify them for my Etsy store, I had to kind of make some adjustments to the files so that they could be listed differently.
So more time in production time versus creation time. So it's like you kind of did all this creation work in the beginning of the semester, and then you spent the rest of your time in production the rest of the semester, which I love. I think that it makes a lot of sense.
It did make the second semester of that class a lot easier, because then I wasn't creating as much stuff, because then I was just adding to my shops.
Yeah, I always find
so
that
much stuff
to be the case, right? Like if you do some crazy project, it's like, oh, the next semester it's like, oh, this feels like a breeze, which is pretty incredible.
And it was really exciting to get the machine and
Yeah,
be able to use it.
So fun. Yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to the cumulating studio. So you got a semester. No, you didn't even get a semester off. Did you get a semester off of Capstone, or you went straight from Capstone, which for the MFA is called Digital Strategies.
Digital Design Strategies.
No, you went straight
Summer was the first Digital Design Strategies. Fall was the second Digital Design
Strategies. And then you
Strategies.
went right into Cumulating Studio, which we've kind of changed that since. So if you're doing the MFA, you'll have a semester off before you start your Cumulating Studio project. You kind of struggled with coming up with a great studio project, but I am so excited about the one you ended up choosing.
I did. I was really looking to have something that had meaning to me. I wanted something that was, I mean, there was lots of things that I could do, but I wanted it to have meaning to me. And where I'm from, where my family has, I can trace my ancestry back many generations, is a place called Lynnwood Park. It is right on Lake Erie, and it is one of my favorite places in the world. And so I really was trying to come up with something to do that would kind of incorporate Lynnwood Park in some way. And ultimately, I ended up finding out that, I knew a little bit, but I hadn't put it all together, that the bell that is 140 plus years old was recently restored. And the bell tower, now it's in quotation because it's one story.
Yeah, it's smaller.
Steps up.
And it's funny because until I kind of saw what you were doing, I was like, oh yeah, it's not really a tower.
Yeah,
but it's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a bell house or or a bell. It's
a bell house.
We know that it has had at least 5 iterations since it was installed in 1884. And so because it was recently, the bell was restored and returned, and a completely new building for the first time ever, wider, bigger. In fact, in order to get the bell out, they had to semi-destroy the previous one to even get the bell out. And so the new building is big enough that if they ever need to service the bell or get it out again, they can do it without destroying the building. And it's on a cement platform finally, instead of a wood base that I don't actually know what has happened. It's one of the things I'm still looking into and still learning about. So I will be, when all is said and done, I will be exhibiting a display of models of the different bell buildings
over the years,
which
is so cool. Like, what a cool historical project. You're getting to use your die cutting skills, which you've already done a lot of, and you also get to preserve this little piece of history. It's a cool project. Yeah. I'm really, really excited about it.
Interviewing people and finding out how it was, how the bell is more than just, it's more than just a church bell. It was used for a lot of different things, over the years, and finding out that for many years, there were end of summer pranks that involved the bell and different things. And, it's something that I think is there and everybody knows about it, but maybe overlooks it because you hear it, but you might not necessarily pay as much attention to it as a physical building or a physical structure, because it's more of, you think of it more in sound instead of visual. So this way I can kind of show the current generation what it looked like over the years.
Yeah, I love that. It's so incredible. Before we wrap up, I would love for you to talk a little bit about overall how you felt about your University of Arts and Design experience.
I have really enjoyed it. For me, I got my undergrad in marketing. I think it was a very smart decision at the time, although I was torn because I really wanted to go to school for art and everything. And that, the getting a marketing and business degree was a good decision at the time, and it led me down the path that it did. But ultimately, this has given me it's fulfilling the dream of doing art school that I always wanted to do. It's enabling me to learn more, put into practice, and Could I continue to learn by myself? Yes. Will I continue to learn more by myself? Probably more so now because I've done this, versus, life gets busy and you start to, and time goes by and you don't realize how much time has gone by where you aren't necessarily learning the things that you want to do independently. But with having the school platform and, having assignments and semesters and deadlines, help me get back in the mode of these are the next steps to move myself forward. And I really see it helping me to take my business forward, giving me other opportunities that I might not have otherwise had, and forcing me to continue learning about art more than I probably would have if I hadn't done this.
Yeah.
And experiment more in art than I probably would have.
I do love the MFA for that reason. There's enough classwork where you get to spend time in experimentation mode and you get to do projects that are meaningful to you, that it feels very personal, which I love. Advice to someone who's considering coming to the university and doing either an MA or MFA program?
Just do it. I mean, if you're considering it, it's a great opportunity to work it into your schedule. It might be hard because of the time commitment that's needed and realigning your life and whatnot. But the advantage of everything being online is you aren't spending the time in the car or, commuting to and from classes. So you're able to hop on, you're able to work in between other things, kids, jobs, life in general. But you're not alone because of the weekly online classes where you're talking with your other classmates. And I think that's the other thing, is that I have a group of friends now and we're all over the country, and we're able to get together, and we have done some kind of days where we work alongside each other, where we just hop in a Google Meet room or a Zoom room and just kind of work and then talk, and it's like being around a coworker. Or
it's like one of my favorite parts about the university. You guys all have been great about the student body. In every class that comes up, you guys figure out a way to hang out. Whether there's a group that chose a Facebook group, there's all of you guys, and actually Emily heads the sorority Marco Polo group. It's the unofficial group, and anyone is allowed in there, and the way that you guys do it is so cool, and just the communications that you guys have kept up. So many of you have become good friends. I see the way you guys work together. I've heard of people hopping in calls during the day, and everyone's just working together.
Yep.
It is pretty incredible. I just love that, and I hope that we can continue cultivating that kind of community as we move forward.
Yeah, and that is a part of several of us that started, that were in the initial cohort, already having some knowledge of each other, already having gotten to meet each other in person at different things,
some events we've had
leading up to it. But I also think that there have been, it's also a part of the incoming people. And that's what I really try to do, is try to pull in, let everybody at the beginning of each semester know that, hey, this is a friendly group. If you have questions, shout them out. We want to help you. We want to, I like helping other people. I learn, like I said, I learn from doing things hands-on. So I also learn from helping other people and showing other people how to do things. And even if somebody has a question and I don't necessarily know the answer, I kind of like to try to figure it out, and so if somebody else doesn't answer it, I'll go try to figure it out, because I want them to figure it out, so that if I can help in any way. And so some people have made smaller groups with their cohorts and everything, which I think is awesome. But I kind of like we called it the sorority, as in anybody in the program at no matter what level can be in this Marco Polo group, so we can just talk and ask questions and help each other out and see each other's faces and actually recognize people and stuff like that, and not feel like it's just an email or a text into the void where you're putting
which
a face.
You don't want to have. I think that's what makes online school feel so cold or sterile, and we just don't have any of that, which is so incredible. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Emily, for being here. This has been super fun. You can tell, like, Emily's been around for a little while if you've seen her, like, in my summits before and a few other things. But getting to see her thrive in this MFA and a university setting has been pretty incredible. If you want to go check out Emily and what she's doing, do you want to tell them where they can find you?
Yeah, it's Emily Harper Fish, and my brand is Harper & Co. That's the letter N, C-O. And so on Instagram, it's Harper_N_Co. The NCO actually stands for my kids' initials, Nevada, Caroline, Owen. And so instead of Ann Company. And so you can find me on YouTube at Harper_N_Co. And on Cricut and Silhouette and everything like that. So.
Yeah, so go check her out. I'll make sure and have that information down here for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this interview, and I will see you guys soon.